I'd like to call this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin with our Invocation Administrator. When you are prepared, please proceed.
Please join with me in an attitude of prayer. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunity, and its challenges. We are ever mindful of the opportunities to render our service to our citizens and this community. We pray for strength and guidance as we conduct our business today. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
And Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Brings us to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion related to approval of this evening's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion? Are there any comments?
Do not.
Very well. If there are no further comments, Commissioner, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Brings us to meetings schedule. Administrator, when you're ready, please proceed.
Yes, Commissioner. Our next scheduled work session will be conducted next Wednesday, February the 16th at 3 p.m. I also want to make note that this Friday, February 11th, all of our administrative county offices will be closed for observance of Lincoln's birthday.
Thank you very much. Honorary resolutions, we have none listed for this evening. We have no discussion items listed. There are no public hearings listed. That brings us to number 10, our consent agenda. I would just make note that items on the consent agenda have been heard at a previous meeting and have been deemed to be non-controversial, and they did not spend money, so they can be passed as a group. Any commissioner can, up until the time we bring them up, move to have any item moved from consent to regular agenda. With that, is there a motion related to our consent agenda this evening?
Commissioner, I move that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Motion's been made for the approval of tonight's consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, is there any comment from the public? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
That brings us to our regular agenda. First item on this evening's regular agenda is 2022-46. Administrator?
2022-46 is a request for the waiver of fees, interest, and penalties for their taxes. And our citizen making the request, Mr. Dennis Rich, is present and available for questions.
Very well. Are there any questions? Well, first off, would the applicant like to make any statements or any comments? And by the way, as the gentleman is making his way to the podium, anyone who would like to comment this evening, please make your way to the podium. Make sure that the light is green at the base of the microphone. State your name and then speak clearly into the microphone for your comments. Please proceed.
Yeah, the name's Dennis Rich. Just basically, I'm just trying to, basically for the penalty and the interest is all I'm looking for back on this since they lost my check, basically, even though I mailed it at the same time with both checks with the property tax and the real estate tax. And they cashed, which we talked about on the last meeting.
And as I recall from the last meeting, this is the first instance where there's been a
That's
problem.
Correct. I've never had a problem in the almost 20 years that I've been here. Always filed my taxes on time.
Are there any commissioners who would like to ask any questions, make comments?
Thanks.
No, thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to make any questions or make any comments on this issue? Seeing none, is there a motion related to 2022-46?
Commissioner, I move that we approve 2022-46.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2022-46.
And just for clarity, that is as an approval, not as a denial.
Very good. Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. That would be with the approval box checked on the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Counselor. Motion has been made for the approval of 2022-46 with the box approves checked. With that, any discussion? Commissioner Thompson?
No discussion, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would care to comment on this issue? Any members of the public? Seeing none, Commissioner Carpenter, you are recognized for any closing comments and to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
And Commissioner Thompson?
No.
That brings it to a tie vote, so that means in this particular instance, the presiding commissioner votes. I will be voting yes. That brings us
So
to,
that matter passes.
that matter passes on a 2-to-1 vote with the approval box checked. That brings us to 2022-45. Administrator?
2022-45 is a request to approve RFP 6821 to Perceptive Contract General Services for a professional service agreement. This is for Shamrock Solutions, and this request comes from our collector, Barbara O'Reilly, and Barbara is present.
Okay, would you like to give us a little more information?
Thank you, Barbara O'Reilly. I don't have anything. If anybody has any questions, I'm available. It's just,
Are there any questions? No, seeing none?
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there a motion related to 2022-45?
I'll make a motion to approve 2022-45.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2022-45. Discussion?
No discussion, thanks.
Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on this issue? Seeing none, Commissioner Thompson, you are recognized for final comments and close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
That brings us to 2022-43. Administrator?
2022-43 is a request from our Facilities Department. This is for a term and supply agreement with Odell and Swift Construction CEI Appliance. This is for a maintenance appliance agreement primarily for our detention facility. And we have our Building Services Manager, Melanie Watt, here to address.
Please proceed.
Good evening, Melanie Watt, Building Services Manager. We are seeking approval for the term and supply agreement for appliance maintenance to cover the appliances in detention and CJC.
Very good. Are there any questions from the commission?
No questions.
Very well. Is there a motion related to 2022-43?
Commissioner, I move that we approve 2022-43.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2022-43. Discussion? Commissioner Thompson?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment on this issue? Seeing none, Commissioner Carpenter, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
That brings us to 2022-48. Administrator?
2022-48 is a request for ARPA funds for the obligation of stormwater-related projects from the City of Excelsior. And here to address the issue is our Clay County Auditor, Victor Hurlbert.
Please proceed.
Yes, good evening. Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. Resolution 2022-48 is an American Rescue Plan Act request from the City of Excelsior Springs for 2 storm-water-related projects. The total amount is an encumbrance obligation not to exceed $850,000. Just as a quick reminder from our last meeting, essentially it consists of 2 projects. The first being the stormwater at Century Park in the amount of $500,000, and then the second being a downtown Excelsior Springs watershed plan at $350,000. My office reviewed the request as to compliance to the final rule of the American Rescue Plan Act and did find the specific eligibility as it relates to stormwater projects and watershed projects as they're specifically mentioned. There also is adequate funding in this infrastructure account of our American Rescue Plan Fund 224. And in addition, we did verify with the City of Excelsior Springs their plans for their own rescue plan money. So that's really all I have. If there are any questions for me, otherwise we do have representatives from the city of Excelsior Springs here tonight if they'd like to make any further comment. Again, this will be done on the reimbursement basis, where they will present us our invoices for that progress paying so that we have our compliance reports necessary to report to the U.S. Treasury. So with that, I'll open for any questions.
Are there any questions for the auditor?
No, thank you.
No questions for the auditor, no.
Thank you very much. If the applicants would like to speak, they certainly have the opportunity now to do so if they would care to. Available for questions. Very well. The applicants indicate that they are available for questions. With that, is there anyone else who would like to, well, let me go ahead and get a motion first. Is there a motion related to 2022-48?
I'll make a motion to approve 2022-48.
Motion has been made to approve 2022-48. Discussion. We heard about this pretty extensively the last time. I think that this is a good project. It's, as the auditor indicates, this qualifies under the federal requirements, and I think due to the historical flooding problems that have been happening in that part of the county, this is a good expenditure of these particular funds, and I think will be protective, certainly of property and in some cases even human lives. So. Further discussion, Commissioner Carpenter?
No, I just totally agree. You know, I think we all had a chance to review these projects before even last week's meeting, and I think we had a pretty lengthy and positive discussion on it. And they're important projects, and I hope that this can be a good partnership between the county and Excelsior, and fully support it.
Commissioner Thompson?
I close.
Well, let me see first, are there any other member of the public who would like to comment? Seeing none, yes, you're now recognized to close.
I close again.
Close and close. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
And Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That brings us to 2022-35. Administrator?
2022-35 is a request from our Sheriff's Department. It is to approve an agreement between Clay County and the City of Gladstone for the transfer ownership of a Ford transit van. Captain Amy Agadarian presented this last week, and she would be available for comments by phone if needed.
Very well. Are there any questions or comments from the commission?
No, I don't have any questions. Thanks.
No questions, thank you.
Very well. Seeing none, is there a motion related to 2022-35?
I move that we approve 2022-35.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2022-35. Discussion, is there any comment from anyone from the public? Seeing none, Commissioner Thompson, do you have any comments?
I don't, thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
That brings us to 2022-42. Administrator?
2022-42 is also a request from our Sheriff's Department. This is requesting approval for a sole source vendor from Brink Drones for a tactical, hard-shelled, more or less indestructible drone from the distributor Lemur S Tactical Drones. And again, Captain Amy Agadarian presented this last week.
Are there any questions related to 2022-42?
No questions.
No questions.
Very well. Is there a motion related to 2022-42?
I'll make a motion to approve 2022-42.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2022-42. Discussion, Commissioner Carpenter?
No discussion.
Is there anyone from the public who would care to comment on this issue? Seeing none, Commissioner Thompson, you're recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
That brings us to 2022-49. Administrator?
2022-49 is a request from our commission here. This is to appoint a Diana Wright as the new county administrator and chief budget officer with the attached contract for your review and approval.
Thank you. This is something that we've been working on for some time as a commission. Certainly, I would like to make sure that we take this opportunity to extend our thanks to Tom Salisbury, who served for roughly a year previous to this time as administrator, and certainly did a great job of bringing the county back up to the kind of operations that we certainly expect from the county, and we appreciate that. This is, we went through a pretty extensive process over the course of some number of months, and we came to the conclusion that Diana Wright would be the correct choice for us to bring on as our permanent administrator. I think that her qualifications certainly speak for themselves, and we're certainly happy to be able to fill this position and to be able to go forward as a county. With that, I will make the motion for the approval of 2022-49. Discussion?
Thank you, Commissioner. So I just totally agree. You know, this has been a long but very important process. Obviously, filling this role of county administrator is a incredibly important thing for us to do as a commission, and it's an incredibly important position here in Clay County, leading us into the future. And I'm absolutely thrilled. We have somebody, I think, coming in with decades of highly relevant experience, who's shown a lot of ability to lead local government jurisdictions, and I have every faith that we're in good hands with Diana Wright, and look forward to moving into the future here in Clay County as we implement the new constitution and expand the commission. And you know, Clay County is an amazing, growing place, and we've got a lot of work going into the future to make it the best it can be. And I think Diana Wright's exactly the right person for the job.
Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you. Yes, I would agree with both of my fellow commissioners here. There's just one thing I think we forgot, is that our interim county administrator, Ms. Donna Kuntz, has been doing a terrific job stepping up and being part of the team here, taking that extra step and helping us out. So I want to give you some acknowledgement for that as well. But I am also very excited to welcome Ms. Diana Wright to our Clay County team. And it'll be nice to have some new perspective of somebody who knows a little bit about some other county government from a little farther away. So we're really excited to have you. So thanks.
Very good, and thank you for that inclusion. I neglected to point out the great job that Administrator Kuntz has been doing, and we certainly appreciate her effort to step into the responsibilities here, in addition to the responsibilities that she already has to carry as her regular part of county commission work. So thank you very much for that. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this from the public? Ms. Wright, if you would like to comment, you certainly may. You don't need to. It's just an option. I wanted to allow that as a courtesy that you may or may not take advantage of.
Good evening. I am Diana Wright. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Commission for allowing me the opportunity to serve the citizens of Clay County. I'm really excited about being part of the leadership team and working with the commissioners and the staff, and the elected officials, and our surrounding jurisdictions as we move forward in transition with the new charter, celebrating the bicentennial of this great county, and providing excellent service to the citizens, the businesses, and the visitors to our county. So as the Commissioner Nolte said, I have over 30 years of experience in local government. I've served 10 years just recently with the City of Olathe, Kansas, as the Director of Economy Focus and Resource Management. And prior to that, I was the City Administrator of Wentzville and Harrisonville, Missouri. And I actually started my career in Gladstone as the assistant to the city manager in administrative services. So my husband and I are really looking forward to come back to the Northland and to be part of the community. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, and I think we all look forward very much to the new chapter we're starting in Clay County government, not only with a new administrator, but as Commissioner Carpenter pointed out, a new constitution, and so many other changes that I think portend for a really positive future for Clay County. So with that, if there are any further comments, then I will close. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Very well. That concludes our regular agenda. That brings us to comments on non-agenda items. Are there any members of the public who'd like to comment on any items not covered under this evening's agenda? Seeing none, are there any office holders who would like to make comments on any issues not covered under this evening's agenda?
Yes, sir. I have just a couple of short ones.
Go ahead and talk a little bit more into the mic.
I have a couple of little short announcements I thought was really very interesting. Our accounts payable clerk in the clerk's office, when she does her invoices, she checks to see if an invoice has already been paid before she puts it through the long rigorous of payment again. And since January 1 of 2022, that's 5.5 weeks, Penny has kept kept records and how many dollars have been, from people double them up on payments to the vendors. And that was a total of $17,853 that she has caught from doubling up on payments. And the other little side note that we have is the clerk office receives many, many calls a day from taxpayers buying a home to title companies trying to figure out what kind of taxes they have to pay on the home. And this is the levy process that we've had to do by hand for some time. And so this is the first year that the clerk's office has, we have a calculation sheet on our page now, on the web page, and it will tell you, what district you're in and how much your levy is, and it also includes the surtax levy. And so you can give it a look over and see what you think, and if there's any new ideas, and if you have any questions, just let us know.
Could you give us the URL for the web page location for
It's the Clay County Clerk webpage. It's claycountymo.gov, and then you just go to the Clay County webpage, or the clerk's webpage.
Thank you very much. Are there any other office holder comments on non-agenda items this evening? Seeing none, are there any agencies who would like to make any comments this evening on non-agenda items? Seeing none. That brings us to County Administrator comments.
Just short, I really appreciate your gratitude, and it's been a pleasure to serve and to assist, so thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. That brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Thompson?
I don't actually have any comments this week. Thank you.
Commissioner Carpenter?
No comments, thank you.
I just want to again repeat our thanks to the Deputy Administrator, and the only word that comes to mind is awesome. Sorry, folks, inside joke. With that, we have no minutes to approve this evening. Are there any written reports to submit to the Commission? We have no executive sessions listed this evening. That brings us to recess and adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.